If you removed the starting quarterback for each team, what would their record be in 2024? I think that this is a good question because how often, as Bills fans, do we hear Josh Allen didn't deserve the MVP last year? Burrow absolutely outplayed him. Lamar ended up outplaying him. And one thing we always spew ad nauseum, right to a point where it gives us a migraine, is look at what Josh Allen had as far as his supporting cast. And spoiler alert, folks, I'm teasing what the next segment is going to be. However, PFF came out and ranked the Buffalo Bills weapons 28th in the NFL. So would I say that I'm upset about that? No, because I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think they're too off of the mark here. Yes, I think a lot of these players bring some good things to the table, right? Quality in some advanced metrics like yards after the catch, quality in EPA. And so I'm thinking about James Cook. I'm thinking about Khalil Shakir, but what have you. Look at the Buffalo Bills and let's look at Josh Allen's overall contribution. Now, season after season after season, Josh Allen has accounted for, it was something absurd. In fact, I want to say it was 88%, even the low 90s sometimes, for touchdowns, for scoring right within the offense. If Josh Allen were removed from the Buffalo Bills in 2024, I'm sitting here looking at a slot receiver in Khalil Shakir, a second-year tight end, Dalton Kincaid, which had a bit of a slump season, if you will, a rookie in Keon Coleman, a quality offensive line, have to give credit where credit is due, and a defense that had a very hard time getting off of the field. That was a bend but not break type unit that could not get off of the field in third down. One of the worst third down defenses in the NFL. So a lot of the times they needed the offense to pick up the slack. If Josh Allen was removed from the Buffalo Bills, I think it's safe to say that we would have put them at around 5-12, 6-11. I really feel like that is a fair assessment for this Buffalo Bills supporting cast, with some of the hidden defensive issues, of course, outside of the propensity of taking the football away. Let me know your thoughts on this, but I do think that Buffalo would likely have finished 5-12 or 6-11 at absolute maximum. That's me. It just goes to show you how important Josh Allen was to the Buffalo Bills. Now let's go to the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals, from how I look at it, piss poor defense. Yes, they had Trey Hendrickson lead the league in sacks, but it just goes to show you how bad that defense was, because while they had the sack leader, they were ranked 27th in the NFL as far as pass rush is concerned. Have Jamar Chase, have T. Higgins, very questionable offensive line, semi-decent run game. But here's the deal. We have seen this movie before. We have seen Jake Browning take over. I think that there would be a slight downturn in overall offensive production. But when I say slight, I'm talking absolutely minuscule. I think Cincinnati, if Joe Burrow was removed, I think it's reasonable to say that they likely would have finished 7-10 to 8-9. And let me know your thoughts on this. But I think that is also a fair assessment. Now, moving over to the Baltimore Ravens, I think that this is a similar assessment that I will give about the Philadelphia Eagles after this. But Baltimore had a quality run game within Derrick Henry, like nearly 2,000 yards, very damn close to it. Solid offensive line, a defense that struggled toward the beginning, especially on the perimeter of their secondary, but still a great defense nonetheless. I think that if Lamar Jackson were to miss out, I do think that there would have been a bit of a downslide on this. Give me, I'd say 9-8 or 8-9. I think that is a fair assessment as well. Now, Philadelphia. And listen, I got to tell you, it's that time of the year where I'm starting to gain some enemies within opposing fan bases because I'm spewing out my thoughts about different NFL organizations. And I did end up putting out a hypothetical about Jalen Hurts, of what that team would have looked like if he was not on the team. And I got to tell you, I think this Philadelphia Eagles team bar none, would have performed the best if they were to remove their quarterback. Some Super Bowl champions. Congratulations, Philadelphia. But when you talk about a masterclass in not only drafting, in free agency, in cap management, this team, by and large, continuously shows the world that that's how an NFL organization should be ran. Saquon Barkley was an absolute dog, quality offensive line, great draft within the secondary, incredible pass rush, solid wide receiver weapons. I'm sorry, but I realistically think that Philadelphia would have went 10-7 to 11-6 without Jalen Hurts. I really, really do. I really, really do. I look at Jalen Hurts' contribution last year, and when you were 20th in passing yards, when you were ranked in the late teens as far as touchdowns, yes, I understand that he has quite a bit with the tush push. That's all well and good. But I do think that this team would have been able to find 10 to 11 wins last year if Hurts was out for the entire season. I don't think many people outside of the Eagles fan base would disagree with me here. Last but not least, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. And this could be heavily debated. Reed is an offensive mastermind. And the Kansas City Chiefs hit a dark cloud of an injury bug in 2024, but still managed to go 15-2. Absolutely insane. Quality defensive production, lost out on Hollywood Brown, lost out on Xavier Worthy, and Patrick Mahomes was nowhere near the statistical Patrick Mahomes that we have grown to know back in 2022 or 2021, I think was his last absolutely crazy season. I think Kansas City probably would have finished at about maybe 11-12 wins. Of course, say that Carson Wentz was their starting QB. That's just how, sort of how much respect I have for Andy Reid as a play caller. But then at the exact same time, I would also end up trusting that defense to win them games. Because let's face it, how many games would you attribute to the Kansas City Chiefs defense last year for that being the reason as into why they won that game? I'd probably say that Kansas City would still have been able to finesse about 11-12 wins here. That's me. So, in summary, have the Buffalo Bills, by and large, being the worst team without their quarterback, finishing at about 6-11. At the Cincinnati Bengals finishing at about 8-9, I think somewhat similar to last year. Have the Baltimore Ravens, somewhat similar, 7-10 to 8-9 record range. Have the Philadelphia Eagles, still very confident that they would pull off 11 games. And then I think with the Kansas City Chiefs last year, I think them being at around 11 games would make a little bit of sense.